Okay. All right. Welcome to the Eastern States race briefing for 2023. Ooh, exciting. So, how's everyone? Jade,
I'm
how are you
excited.
doing? You're excited? Good,
I
good,
am.
good.
I love race week.
Um, we were trying to get through some technical issues, but what we want to do first off is have Jeff talk a little bit more about, the Eastern States Trail Endurance Alliance, the master organization that is behind Eastern States 100. So, Jeff, can you start?
Okay, thanks, Ben. Apparently, my computer might be the source of the technical difficulty, so I'm going to make this short and sweet. Eastern States Trail Endurance Alliance is a sponsoring organization for Eastern States. We are a nonprofit, completely a volunteer organization, and our goals are to, first of all, preserve Eastern States and make sure that this wonderful race that was the first 100 miler for a number of us stays around, so that our grandkids get to run it when that time comes. We also have a goal of fostering the trail running community that we are all part of, and has meant so much to so many people. So that's kind of what we do. We rely on a huge volunteer force to put this race on. I just sent an update email out to all our volunteers, and I think that it went to over 250 people. So that gives you an idea of how many people are going to be out there this weekend, and actually have been out there for months and months in reality, getting these trails ready and working really hard to give you a really good race, where you get to test yourself against some really tough terrain, and find out what you're made of. Please, please be nice to our volunteers. Please get the most that you can out of this race. Give us feedback about the race, good and bad. Afterwards, you'll get a survey. And consider giving back to the race and to this organization and to this community on those times when you're not running. We've got some longtime volunteers that are running the race this year. We've got a lot of runners who have completed the race who are with us on the volunteer squad, and that's how we want to keep things. So anyhow, with that, I'll give it back to Ben.
Ben, are you muted?
Hold on. There we go. No, I just wanted to
I know
shift
you're
things
saying
around a
something,
little
but I
bit.
don't know what it
I'm
is.
doing like three, four things at once,
I know.
so it's going to get very entertaining later on.
Right.
Yeah, do you want to start things off, because I was trying to get that technical thing fixed, and I don't have the script in front of me here. So if we
Okay.
can start.
Well, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about that's okay. So those of you that don't know me, you probably do. I'm Jade Oaks. I have stepped into the assistant race director position this year. So I am basically Ben's right hand woman for the race this weekend. I'm going to go over with you a little bit of the schedule, if that's where you want me to start, Ben. Not
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
please. That's
okay.
on the
I'm
list.
just going okay. So same process as before. Friday at the start finish line is going to be your bib pick up. A couple things to remember. Definitely bring your ID. We're checking IDs. We want to make sure everybody that's picking up a bib or is running is supposed to be there. Also, the race team will be on hand there to answer any questions. We will take questions later, I think, off of our Facebook page.
Correct. Did we lose Jade? All right. Well, okay. Well, let's continue for what Jade was talking about. What you need to do is bring ID to the Friday bid pickup. If you have pacers, you should register them ahead of pacing.
Oh, there we go.
We will. Oh, there you back. You're back.
I'm back. Did I disappear completely? Because
Yes, you did.
it
Well,
all
no,
went
you
away.
had
Anyway.
this frozen face that wasn't.
The frozen face. That's my favorite.
Yes. So.
Yeah, it's usually something that Ben ends up putting in a meme later. That I'm sure you
Probably,
will.
yeah. I'll grab a
So
still story.
we'll
back.
address that after race weekend. Anyway, we'll be on hand to answer any questions that you have. So if something comes up after this broadcast, I don't know where I left off, but if something comes up after this broadcast, because as of tomorrow, basically, Ben and I will be remote, like literally remote. So if you have a question, if something comes up, please don't think we're ignoring you. We just don't have service. And if you haven't been to Little Pine before, you'll understand when you get there, but there's not service up there. Pacers must register ahead of pacing. So nobody's just going to jump in. Now, we've been asking all of you all along to register your pacers because we're going to have pacer bibs for them, just like we did last year. This year, they aren't going to be numbered, but we want to be able to keep track of everybody that's on the course. That's our job. We want our runners, our volunteers, and our pacers and our crews, of course, to all be safe. And in order to do that, we have to keep track of who they are. Just like if you're a volunteer for us, you have to register through our volunteer system. Same kind of idea with a pacer. If you're on the course, we need to know who you are and that you're there and have emergency contact information for you. If you have not signed up on the online system so far, that's okay. You can sign up as a pacer at either registration or at the aid station that you are picking your runner up at. We are just trying to gather as much of that information ahead of time because things are going to be hectic at registration and at each aid station. So we want to get that information in our systems ahead of time so we have it. We're also going to ask you about where you're going to be post-race. We're not being nosy. We kind of are, but we're not. It's just because we want to know that we're keeping track of you. So if you're going to be camping, which we'll talk about coming up here soon, if you're going to be camping, if you're at an Airbnb, if you're at a hotel, we just need to know where you are, because if we lose track of you somehow and we need to reach out to you, we need to know where we can find you. We don't want to assume that you are lost in the PA wild, and we will assume that if we cannot.
And what happens is we always assume the worst, but we try to do our due diligence and try to think that, well, perhaps maybe there was you went through an aid station and your number wasn't recorded, which we will talk a lot about that later on. Or sometimes the timing equipment doesn't pick up your bib. So we do need to know where your whereabouts are during race weekend. So, if we come to a problem where, we don't know where you are, the first thing that we will do is we will call you. And here are the numbers that we'll be calling you from. These are the three numbers that our race communications team have set up. So if you receive a call from any of these numbers, please pick up the phone, because we are trying to get a hold of you and making sure that you are safe for and you're not, again, out somewhere in the woods. So you may want to keep these numbers on hand, or at least, make sure that, you see whenever you see any of these digits, then please pick up so we know where you are at. So camping. Well, we do have camping. Now there's camping, of course, in the campground at Little Pine State Park. That's through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the state park system. But we also have a camping area directly across from the start. It's a first come, first served. We have plenty of room for anybody to pitch a tent, or even there's some places to put up a hammock. We will make sure that whenever you sign in, that we want to know that if you are going to be in the campground or not. So if you are in check-in Friday bid pickup, well, we do need to know that if you want to be in that campground, that's where you will be.
And please, we beg of you to only camp in that designated camping area.
Yes,
There will
there's
be
no
no camping anywhere other than there.
Yep, and also that reminds me, there is no RV camping in the large parking lots at the start and finish, and it will be monitored by DCNR. So just be aware of that. During the race pickup, the bid pickup, Run PA and Revive will be there. If you're not familiar with Revive or Run PA, there are some great trail running outfitters here in central Pennsylvania, and Revive is they do a lot of support for local races, and also individuals and groups that look to trail running to increase awareness in their particular communities. So, if you want to stop in and support them, please do. That would be great for everybody. Drop bags. Do not leave your drop bag at the drop bag pavilion Friday night. Being in the Pennsylvania wilds, there are things like black bears and raccoons, possums, maybe a Sasquatch or two. So, don't leave your race stuff, your drop bag, in the designated area. You need to drop them off Saturday pre-race. There'll be a signage that will direct you to where it is, but there's also a map online and also in the participant guide if you need to find where that drop bag is. We'll talk more about drop bags later, but we're just going over the timeline right now. This year, we're doing something a little bit different with the wait list. There are some individuals that are still out there waiting to see if they can get into eastern states. And what we are going to do is we're going to keep that wait list open up until the Friday evening, about 15 minutes before the conclusion of the bid pickup. We will then try to find, those individuals that are on the wait list and still want to go. Every year, there's always, a certain number of people that do not show. So what we want to do is have exactly 250 people at that starting line Saturday morning. So we will ask, and what we'll do is we'll gather those waitlisters. I don't know, maybe we'll put them in a corral or make a game show out of it. I don't know, just put them aside and see who's up next to come on down. So yeah. So that's what we're going to do. So with the wait list, so Friday evening, we can fill that up to exactly 250 people that are going to start the line come Saturday morning. And now let's talk about Saturday. Jade, you want to talk a little bit about the check-in?
So even though you have checked in Friday night, you also need to check in on Saturday morning. Why is that? Well, it's because we recognize that there are a certain number of people, again, like Ben said, that may pick up their bib and then don't intend to run. We want to know that. So no harm, no foul. We just want to know that. The other thing is we need to check in and make sure that we have everybody accounted for. So plan on coming. It'll be from 3:30 to 4:45 and checking in. bring your ID again, all of that stuff. So I know it's a pain, but there's a method to all of our madness on Saturday morning. So yes, you have to check in both Friday night and Saturday morning. But also Saturday morning for your pre-race breakfast, we have Adam and Amanda back to do all of our cooking. So if you've been with us before, you know how awesome that is. They do pancakes and all kinds of stuff. And then we have Basin Coffee also, and that is great morning fuel to start your run. Brad Basin is back with us again this year, so we're super excited about that. At this point, then you can bring your drop bags, and you can drop them at the pavilion. So it's at the Far Pavilion if you've been with us before, but there will be signage, so you will know where to go. There'll be lights and signage. And you can drop them in the designated area. So listen, I said this last year, I'm saying it again. No bag, or only bags, no boxes, no giant bags, no suitcases, no giant duffel bags that look like you could fit a dead body in. And for the love of all that is holy, no 5-gallon buckets. Please, no 5-gallon buckets. If we have to pare them down, we will, and you won't have all of the stuff that you're looking for. So please abide by this rule. It is not just to be a pain. It is because all of our volunteers have to move this stuff out to the aid stations, and they get put in the back of a pickup truck. And for that reason too, they should be waterproof. So unless you want to come across the Tome Flats water crossing thinking that my dry shoes are right on the other side, and it turns out you didn't put them in a waterproof bag and they might not be dry, that might not make the last 40 miles all that enjoyable. So keep that in mind. Anything else you would like to say about drop bags?
Well, like I said, like Jade said, we're really being strict about this. And to give you a frame of reference, it's about 10 inches by 16 and 6 to 8 inches deep, which is about the size of one of those 5-gallon bags. So anything larger than that, well, the logistics team has the the authority to pare it down to what we think that you do need, and we will go from there. And the logistics coordinator for that, McNerney, he's going to be strict about it. So please don't make it difficult for us. So now that the race is on at 5 o'clock, we will have, just in case if there's any kind of last minute announcements at 5 or 10 minutes before the race, if there's anything important that we need to discuss, we will do so, and then we will escort you to the start line and pull the trigger. So that takes us all the way to Sunday. So,
yeah. And then you have till 5 o'clock on Sunday evening to make your way back to us. Super cool.
Cutoff. Now, this race has a 36-hour cutoff. That means that the race is officially over at 5 p.m. I don't care if you are a runner, you have like a large crew, you want to bring your family, you want to bring your church group or whatever. I want this to be a party come Sunday afternoon. So, please come by. We will have plenty of food, plenty of beer. The food for the runners is provided again by Amanda and Adam. Thank you, Adam. And also we will have a food truck, Real Taste, from Williamsport, that will be selling foods. They make some great Mexican dishes and stuff like that. That food is available for crews and spectators and any other people that show up. We have New Trail Brewing providing beer once again for us. And stay all afternoon. It's especially in that golden hour from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And what we'll try to do is we'll try to get some announcers to, cheer on the runners as they come through, and and basically, have it the annual celebration of trail running here in the PA Wilds. So please come. Rules. You're the most.
Let's talk about. Wait 1 second before we move on to rules. We missed something at the finish line. Yes, we did. So the other thing that we're going to have at the finish line are two things. One, we have an information station that will be set up all week. It won't be a weekend. It won't be staffed consistently, but there will be somebody there. So if you have questions about the area, questions about places to eat, those kind of things, please stop by there. The other thing that we will have there is we will have some of our old, our from previous years, our swag. So t-shirts, not jackets, not anything like that. Nothing that you have to finish to get, put it that way. But we'll have so it's cash only, by donation. We won't have change. So just so you know that. The other thing that's going to be at the finish line on Sunday is one of our awesome trail kids is going to set up Alex's lemonade stand. So if you know of Liv Parado, her mom Rebecca has run Eastern States, and she's a great volunteer. But Alex's lemonade stand is something that's near and dear to their hearts, and they asked if they could set up, and we said absolutely. So they're going to do that along with a bake sale. So please stop by and make a donation to them as well. So I just wanted to throw that in there so we didn't miss it. Take over, Ben.
All right. Well, let's go over the rules. There are a lot of rules, like in life, but there are quite a few. We have them all listed on the website. We've also, did our due diligence and posted several times about the rules, but there are some that are just so critical that we really need to repeat it. And the number one thing, if there's one thing that you need to remember, is we need to know who you are during the race. And what does that mean? That means your bib that we will give to you has to be clearly visible whenever you get into the aid station. But not only that, but whenever you come into the aid station, you need to announce that you are, whatever number you are, 583. 583 is here, 553 is in, and we will have a recorder that will be tracking all the runners coming in and out. But whenever you come in, I mean, look at them in the eye, give them a wave, do finger guns at them, but just make sure that you let them know that you are coming into the aid station. And whenever you get out of the aid station, make sure you do the same thing. Tell the recorder that you are heading out, you're leaving the aid station. Don't make any, make it clear that if your intention is you're continuing forward, because sometimes, there may be a miscommunication where you say, well, I'm going out, meaning that maybe you dropped, but really the recorder thinks that you're continuing on with the race. So, if you are dropping, there's a whole procedure with that we'll talk about, but make sure that you make it very clear that whenever you leave the aid station to the next aid station, that you are leaving. And just saying, number 354 leaving is great. It's wonderful. Regarding also with that is I just touched upon is if you have to drop out of the race, the thing that you need to do if you decide to drop out at an aid station is to walk to the aid station captain, tell them that you are dropping from the race, that you are DNFing, and that you are no longer participating in the eastern states. They will take your bib, and using that bib, that is a way for us to record that you have indeed dropped out of the event. I can't tell you how many times where we had situations where someone just decides to walk away at an aid station and not tell an aid station captain about it, and that really puts a wrench in the works. So please, if
What does
that's the
that
only
get
thing
you
you
if you
remember.
don't turn your bib in?
Yep, that's
Yeah. What does that get
my
you?
viewpoint. Mandatory
Yeah,
gear.
if you
Do we have
don't turn your
mandatory
bib
gear?
in, there's a very real likelihood we're going to ban you from a future event. Just saying. It's
Laying
our
the law
rules.
there, Jade.
I know. I'm the mean one.
Mandatory gear. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Mandatory gear. So, well, obviously, the most obvious one is a headlamp. You're going to need it the first few miles. And then obviously overnight. You can't, a headlamp or some other form of light, like a waist light or something, but you absolutely have to have that. The other thing that you need to have is an emergency blanket. We've put this out in all of our communications, but this is 100% mandatory. I have had people ask me before, well, can I just pick it up later so it doesn't take up room in my pack? I mean, seriously, they're like, how big are they? No, you can't. It has to be in your pack at all times. And you never know when one of our race officials is going to ask to see your kit. So again, it is not to be mean. It is not to make your life harder. It's not to take up room in your pack. It is a safety issue. We are in some very remote areas with no service. And if something happens and you end up stuck somewhere overnight, you may very well need it. Our temperatures vary greatly this time of year. It could be hot and humid during the day. We could have a thunderstorm come through and you could be hypothermic by the time we can get to you. So it is an absolute must. There are no exceptions. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200. Just put it in. We will have a few spares, I'm sure, around, but you need to come to registration with having that in your pack. So that is your mandatory gear list. It's not much. You can do it.
Crew aid. As your crew can only give you aid at the designated aid stations. We have those listed on the website. We are cracking down once again. There's been situations where people have, got aid either at an undesignated aid station or elsewhere on the course. So we will be out on the lookout for that. Oh yeah, by the way, the recorder. Just want to go back to the one thing about whenever you go through the aid station and you talk to the recorder, all recorders will have a clipboard, very official green clipboard, and a vest, yellow bib vest, so you can pick them out pretty easily among the crowd. And I mean, who has a clipboard at a race other than the recorder? So that's the person you need to tell that you are at the aid station and that you are leaving. Pacers. Well, the pacer registration. You want to talk about that a little bit more, Jade?
Well, pacer registration, like we talked about right up front, we would like you all to be into the system. We're going to shut that down tonight for a period of time, because by tomorrow morning, so when you go in and register as a pacer, it asks you a bunch of questions, emergency contact, that kind of thing, who you're pacing for, what aid station you're picking up at. There's a reason for that, because then as of tomorrow morning, I am going to print stickers that go on the back of all the pacer bibs, and then I'm going to match those up with the runner that they're running with, or at least one of them. I know some of you are pacing for more than one runner, or maybe you don't know what station you're picking them up at yet. That's fine. We just need some basic information from you. So then that way, when your runner picks up their bib and their swag, those are attached to it. But so say it comes to Friday.
Well, what I don't know if anyone else can hear Jade, but with the Pacers, yeah, we just need to know a little bit more. That's why we're doing, the registration online. But I mean, we understand that things happen. You may have to shift people around. There will be bibs at the aid stations. We've been getting a lot of questions about that. So we are flexible. We understand that things change, but for us to have as much information as possible on who is out there is the reason and the point that we are doing the registration for Pacers online, and also to get some more information about them. I mean, even though they're not official participants, they are out there in the course. Something could happen to them. We're collecting emergency contact information from them. So yeah, that's kind of the method to the madness. So with Pacers, it's the standard rules with pacing. You need to stay behind your runner and don't mule for them. Don't carry all their water and supplies and whatnot. But that's pretty much a standard operating procedure for most trail ultras. At the aid stations, there are cutoff times. The cutoff times are strict. That means if you are not departing from that aid station at exactly that time, sorry. We do that for safety reasons and because of the remoteness of the course. So yeah, any cutoff times that you find along the course, those are departure times. They are not arrival times. Solo division. So this year, brand new, we added a solo division. Even though we're kind of doing this very how I put kind of loosely. We're going by really the honor system. We trust you that whenever you come through the finish, that if you did were provided crude help, that you fess up and say that, hey, sorry, but I don't really need a glass. So the bibs will be different between the solo division and the crew division. So that's a way for us to designate who's who out on the course. If you happen to get aid, yeah, just we'll just go by the honor system and just hopefully take your word for it. And if not, then hopefully bad karma comes your way at some point. So, updates. A lot of great, interesting course updates. Jade, do you want to talk about maybe the first one?
Do I get to talk about Tone Flats?
Yes, because you were so excited when we decided to do this initially.
Yeah, so I admit I was not quite sure. The mom in me was like, really? Do we want to make him cross the creek in the dark? And then I was like, okay, cool. So, but hey, it's going to be super fun. And we moved the Slate Run aid station. If any of you have been with us before, Slate Run aid station was kind of small. We've had it at the Hotel Manor. We had it across the creek last year. But we moved it this year. So it's about a mile down the rail trail, which throws another little wrinkle in. But it's about a mile down the rail trail and it's a much bigger lot. So that is a great thing. But what that also does is allows us a chance to have you have a creek crossing. And Jeff, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this, because what is a race in the Pine Creek Valley if you're not going across Pine Creek? Take it away, sir.
Right. So all these years we've been running this giant circle around Pine Creek and never actually getting your feet wet in it. And so this year we have a water crossing. It actually is the most direct way to get to this nice new aid station also. So basically the creek here is about 80 yards wide. It's a wide, flat, fairly slow moving section of creek, but it's wide. So the way it's going to work is you'll be coming down down out of Naval Run onto Naval Run Road. And in the old version of the race, you'd have kept going on Naval Run Road the whole way to Slate Run. But now you're going to turn off into the campsite 1 area, which will be heavily marked. You won't miss that. And you'll go down to the creek side there. We will have a safety team on site, a team on both sides, the near side and the far side of the creek, and a high line stretched across the water, placed by qualified firemen, and a safe operation. The team on the far side of the creek will help you onto the line, and you'll cross, and a team on the near side, on the aid station side, will help you off the line. You have some options for how you actually do this crossing. So that high line, the best way, we're going to offer you a trolley line. It's about a 4-foot length of rope that'll be clipped into the high line with a C-clamp, a carabiner, and has a loop and some knots on it that are easy for you to hold on to. So as you make your way across the water, you'll have that to steady you. You can also choose to hold the high line directly. And at some points, that might be the best option for you. You can also, if you're really worried about getting swept away, you'll have the option of actually clipping in to the trolley line so that if you fall, you'll still be anchored to the high line. And we're actually not going to force you to use the high line. If you really think that you can get across the water faster by swimming or wading or whatever, you can choose to do that. You've got to do it on the upstream side of the high line so that if when you do get swept downstream, you can grab that line. You also do still have the option of bypassing the water crossing altogether. But if you choose that option, it's going to add about 2 miles to your race, and that's on you. We've got the water lines, the water crossing set up, and that's what you're supposed to do. You will also have the option of we'll have personal flotation devices, vests available on the far side. Our crew on the far side will help you get into that vest if you want to wear that as you go across. The aid station, the Tone Flats aid station, is immediately on the far side, on the post-crossing side of the stream. Your crew will be waiting there for you there if you have one of those, your drop bags, medical personnel, a very well-stocked aid station with very enthusiastic idiot runner crew, a warming tent, and just about everything you might want to recover from your stream crossing. So we think this is going to be a very good addition to the race, and looking forward to helping you through it. Ben, back to you.
Ben, are you still muted?
Yep. No, I'm there. Getting there. Hold on. No, I had to take myself.
There's times where I'd like to.
Well, I had to take myself off video because I wanted to sort of start miming everything, like clip, swim.
Oh,
anything,
yeah.
That was
it's a process.
Too distracting. So, but there are other changes to the race, a minor one. But Algerine's Aid Station 11 and Aid Station 12, Long Branch, have been consolidated into one aid station. We did this mostly because of it was very difficult getting emergency crews and other personnel at each of those aid stations. Here we have a lot better access and quicker access if we need to. It does, of course, increase the distance between, those aid stations. So whenever you leave Toma Flats, make sure you load yourself up so you can make it over through the Algerines natural area to Cedar Run aid station. So other than that, I have here my notes, other stuff, random things about the race. Flagging, yeah, that's, you got props. That's great. So anyways,
I didn't bring many props this time, but I did bring one.
So
a whole bunch of us were out yesterday doing that.
The course is marked in pink ribbon. During the nighttime sections, we will be using those reflective tabs. Each ribbon is about 40, 50 paces, depending on, people have different stride lengths. So that gives you an approximate distance. And turns are usually heavily marked by multiple ribbon and a greater frequency of confidence ribbons leading out of the turn. So, and then here and there are signage that we had to put down for, places that were a little bit extra difficult. But our suggestion really is to have a GPX file, downloaded on your phone, navigating, through the Pennsylvania wilds on this course, because ribbon could be taken down by wildlife or unsuspecting hikers, and there may be a section where it may not be ribboned, so you need to be prepared and just have that GPX file, or if not, a map with you. So yeah. I think it's about time to go back to Jeff. In fact, I already have his title up there. He could talk about the volunteers. He kind of spoiled it for me because I was going to do a trivia question on how many volunteers does it take to have Eastern States, is it 2 to 1? Is it 30 volunteers, 50 volunteers? No, it's a 1 to 1, 250 volunteers for 250 runners. So there's a literal army out there. But Jeff can talk a little bit more about that.
All right. So, sorry, I spoiled your trivia. But yeah, that 1-to-1 ratio. And so I already talked a good bit about volunteers at the beginning. But on my list here is what to expect at aid stations. And aid stations are obviously the main place that you're going to interact with our volunteers, and where the greatest majority of volunteers are working. So their job at the aid station is to help get you fueled up for the next section. And some of these sections are pretty long now. None are longer than 10 miles, but still, it's rough terrain, and you would be wise to use these aid stations well. They're all going to be equipped with standard 100-miler aid station stuff: water, tailwind. In the nighttime sections, there will be caffeinated and regular tailwind, so you can make your choice there. All the standards, salty stuff and sweet stuff and candy, and then each aid station, as they've decided what their themes are and what they like to cook and what they like to eat when they're on the other side of the table, have designed their menu. A lot of those, if you look down the feed on our Facebook group page, you'll see some specific menus up there, and a number of them are open to requests too. So very well stocked. Again, I just ask you to be nice to our volunteers. They understand. They've a lot of them have been on the other side, on the receiving end of aid, so they know what they're doing and they want to help you succeed. The same goes for the medical staff. Every station is going to have medical volunteers there also. Everybody just wants to help you succeed. Help them feel good about what they're doing by saying thank you as you go out. And then just always remember, if you appreciate the help that you got and had a good time at this race, come back next year. And if you're not running, volunteer. And you're muted, Ben.
Time to do that. All right. All right. Let's go to Tom Costello. He is involved with operations. So Tom, talk a little bit more about what you're doing. And
sure. Thanks, Ben. So I think the theme you're hearing, and Jeff just said it again, we really want you all to be successful. We would love to see you all finish. And we want to make sure that you and the volunteers are safe, throughout the race. So the operations team, in a nutshell, is our job is to keep a pulse on what's going on in the race and to react to anything that's coming up and to deploy the right kind of resources to fix it. So this year we have a small team that's separate from logistics, dedicated to operations to do just that. So we're going to be stepping it up a little bit this year to do things differently. I just want to start off by saying thanks to Travis Best. I know he's out watching. Travis, for years, has been doing the comm for Eastern States and other races. But for the last several years, he's been, in order to keep track of you all as you're moving around the trail, the course, has built a really interesting tracking system. And it allows them to make sure that we're accounting for everybody, as was said earlier. And that data's been there. Last year, we played around with it a little bit. But this year, we decided we were going to introduce a tracking system. So there's going to be a website that's going to be up during the course of the race that is going to allow you to get information. And it's really designed for both your crew, for family that are following you, for spectators. It's a slightly new look. So I'm going to actually present that just so you can take a quick look, and then we'll give you the URL for that in just a moment. So let's see if I can make sure I get this. So there it is. This is a map of the course. It is going to be lit up like this during the course of the race. As the aid stations are opening, they're going to change colors as they're getting prepped. When there are people there, as the courses, people are progressing through the course, you're going to see these blue lights come on and show the number of people that are in each individual stage. This allows us to see where you're at. Again, for safety, we want to know how many people are where in the course. It's going to allow us to keep track of where everybody's going. One of the interesting features on this is for any given aid station, you can select it and it will give you the information that tells you everything about who's the captain, what are the open and close times, if there are cutoffs, how far you are into the race. It tells you the services that are there, like crew permitted, and what else we've added. And it will also tell you what cell phone carriers will work at that location. For those of you who run the race before, you know that not all cells work everywhere. So all of this that we're putting together comes from Travis's data. So when you're giving those bib numbers and you're saying you're entering and leaving, Travis is capturing that for safety reasons. And we're trying to render it so that your family and your support crews can use it, but it's also for us as well. A side benefit from doing this is we now also have live standings visible on the page as well. So what that's going to allow you to do is to see where everybody is at. So if your family is following, they'll know what aid station you were just at, how far you are, how far it is to the next one. These numbers are a little wonky because of the calculations, because we're giving you a demo before the race, but basically it will tell you your minutes per mile pace. And in this race, you've got to be just a hair under 21 minutes per mile to make it to the end within 36 hours. We have an estimated next aid station arrival. And again, for safety reasons, this is our way of saying we're expecting to see you at this aid station at a certain time. If you're behind that, you may just be slowing down, but if you don't show, then that's a different problem. We are also projecting whether you will or not make the next cutoff based on your miles per minute race. And we also have an estimated finish time for anybody who wants to see you at the finish. It'll just tell you roughly how you're looking. This is searchable. So if somebody wants to put in a name to see if they can find you, they can do that. And we'll filter down to those names. You can put in a bib number if you'd like, and it will give you that bib number. And if you're looking this on a cell phone, it will size down to a cell phone, but you'll get a slightly different look. You don't get all those columns, but what you do get is a cursor you can click, and it will give you all the remaining data points. There is a ticker up here that is going to be lit up. It's green if the race is going well and there's nothing interesting. If we have an alert to tell you, it will go yellow, and if there's something urgent, it will go red. If it's going too fast, just put your cursor or your finger in there, it'll stop it, and you can read what's going on and come back. So this is a big deviation from what we've had in the past. This thing will update literally. It's going to try to update every minute, but we're obviously beholden to the people that are capturing the bibs and radioing them in. So the data doesn't change all that dramatically, not every minute, but it could. The other thing, just real quick, on the live standings, the most recent bib numbers entered will be showing up. So as people are crossing into aid stations, they're going to pile up on the top. But if you want to see who's winning or how people are doing, you just come out here and click, and you will see the estimated first finishers, and you can follow the race that way. So again, this is a big departure from what we've had in the past, and it's I don't want to say it's experimental. We tested it last year, and it was not in this particular format, but Travis's data is just so good, and we want to make sure we could share it. The URL for that, I'm going to put it in here now, and it is up and running now. So you can take a look at it. We're going to clear that test data out, and the morning of the race, it will start updating, and everybody can follow along. So that was a little bit longer than I wanted to go, but I just wanted to cover this. This is really important to us, and it goes back to the point made about bib numbers. We have to make sure we get your bib number correctly. Travis wants to hear it. We want to hear it. Medical wants to hear it. We just want to know where you are so we can keep up with the progress around the course. If you do not turn in your bib when you DNF, if you are missing, we marshal up a lot of volunteers, search and rescue, everything else. It's a lot of people will come looking. So it may seem like it's a little bit inconvenient, but it's really, really important that you get those bibs turned in and that we know where you're at. You'll find information on there if you'd like. The infographics cards from last year are also back this year. I want to make sure that you know that for those of you who run the race before, you've seen them. For those of you who have never run the race before, the infographics are really just a series of files that show like the map, the topography of the race for that particular segment. It will show you information about the aid station, upcoming cutoff times, a whole number of other things. You'll find it, I hope, useful. We got a lot of good feedback from it last year. So if any of you have never seen them, this is a general look. I'm going to show you what the new segment going into from Big Trail coming down, heading down into Tome Flats, and you'll see the resolution of these are pretty high. That's the crossing into Tome Flats. This gives you everything you want from elevation gain and services and everything else. Those are all going to be back this year. So for those of you who like them, hope you'll find them useful. Course communication, just again, cell phone coverage for any of you who've done it before. No one particular cell phone carrier works all the way around the course. T-Mobile has its strengths, like at the lake. Nothing else is there. You get up on the hill around Barron's and Hackett, and you'll find that Verizon works really well, but no one else is all that strong. So again, you can refer to the map, look at the aid station, and you'll see what will and won't work. As far as weather update, I'll just give you this real quick. Based on what I'm looking at now, Saturday morning start time, I think you should expect the temperatures around 60. It's going to be a little bit humid. It will dry out during the day. I expect it's going to get a little breezy, 5 to 7 mile an hour winds. There's a chance that there could be some cloud cover. Air quality is looking good right now, and the forecast indicates the same. There is a slight chance of some rain on either of the 2 days, but I think they're going to be isolated showers. But I do think there's going to be a fair amount of cloud cover with some breaks here and there. We're going to continue to monitor. We have in-water monitors for the water flow going through Pine Creek and the depth. So we've already set a baseline for that. So if it starts to be a problem, we would deal with that accordingly. I believe that's the race director to make that call, but just wanted you to know it's not just a visual. We've got some metrics that we're following to make sure if it gets a little bit difficult. And that's pretty much all I had, Ben, unless anybody has any questions. I'm looking at the comments real quick. I don't see anything. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right. Okay. Just to let everybody out there know, we will do, question and answer at the end of this. But before we do, we have someone on our medical team. Steve, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How's everybody doing?
Good, good. Yeah, if you can go over some of the medical-related stuff, please.
Sure. Okay, so my name's Steve Pagano. I'm one of the co-medical coordinators along with Kayla Thompson. And we basically have a few main points that we want to get across to all the participants. And we're here to help you guys finish the race in a safe way. And so, like was mentioned before, we have medical volunteers at all of the aid stations, and the MedVols will basically vary in their areas of expertise. We have podiatrists, we have EMTs, we have ER physicians. They're all among the volunteers, and we will all be wearing red T-shirts with this ES100 logo, so that we are clearly visible to all the runners. And one important thing is definitely want to let everybody know that we do have the authority to stop you either temporarily if we feel you need further assessment from a medical standpoint, or if your condition warrants further medical attention, or if your condition precludes you from moving forward. We do have the final authority to pull you from the race, but we do want this to be a mutual decision based on us giving you information that you need to help you make an informed decision on what's best for you. We're not going to be heavy-handed, but obviously if you're talking to us and you're coherent and you're responding appropriately and we feel that you can continue, we're going to let you continue. But if you're unconscious, that's another issue. We're definitely going to want to stop you and do a further assessment to see what's going on. And that's going to be a decision based on not just aid station volunteers, but we have 2 teams of docs that will be basically leapfrogging the aid stations. And we will be in communication via ham radios with all of the other medical volunteers to help make these decisions the correct way. A couple other points are some of the aid stations, especially overnight, will have warming capabilities, extra blankets. Another important thing is if any of you are on any prescription medications, we want you to bring those medications with you and take them on schedule. Don't skip a dose just because you're in the middle of a race. Keep those prescriptions with you and take them on schedule, and or as close to on schedule as you can. Now, we do not handle any prescription meds, and we will not be handing out anything like Advil, Tylenol, any of those NSAIDs. They're definitely not recommended during an event such as this. So we definitely recommend you stay away from those kinds of things. Now, one last thing I want to talk about is dehydration, because this is probably the most common thing that we see of runners coming into the aid stations. So a few things. The highest risk for heat illness occurs when there's high humidity and high temperatures. Now you can, depending on your level of fitness and readiness for this race, I've seen people, me included, have gotten dehydrated in temperatures in the 70s when it's very humid. You just can't offload that heat, and so you can get yourself into trouble. So, and heat illness is made worse by dehydration. So I want you to think about hydration as an active prevention strategy, and hydrating for this race, as any other race, should start several days ahead of the race, not just race night or the day before. So several days this whole week, you guys should all be, and girls should all be hydrating to the point where you're comfortable with. And a few key things that are that we'll be looking for are symptoms such as dizziness, nausea, vomiting, low levels of coordination, and obviously fainting. Those things we will definitely recognize immediately as a case where a runner is dehydrated, and we'll take appropriate steps to get you rehydrated, and we'll do our best to get you into a status to where you can continue the race. However, if you do lose consciousness and you end up in the back of an ambulance for EMS to look at you, we'll definitely be pulling your bib at that point. So I think that was all I needed to cover. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Ben.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Mhm.
And what we're going to do now, we're going to conclude with thank yous. But before we do that, well, we've accumulated quite a bit of questions, and let me see if I can add some people on here. So I'm just going to go through like not a random order, but chronologically. Let's start with recorders. Whenever you come into the aid station, how do you identify them? Well, they will be wearing not reflective vest, a vest. They'll have a clipboard in hand, and they'll be, they could be, depending on where the aid station is, where they will be standing, but they'll be wearing a bright yellow bib and holding a green clipboard. So that's the way to identify the recorders. Jade, have we talked to Adam and Amanda about this?
Yes, we always have a supply of vegan food. So we try to accommodate as many people as possible. And Adam and Amanda always make something that is vegan friendly. Also, at the bake sale that's happening with the lemonade stand, I happen to know that a couple of folks are also making vegan baked goods. So there will be lots of options for you.
Yep. Hopefully, they'll be making that chili that they have all the time.
They are, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe they are definitely doing that. Their stuff's just so good.
Some awesome stuff. Talking also about food, we actually have we're also accommodating some of the front runners this year. I mean, yeah, they're gonna be finishing, in the middle of the night, 2, 3 a.m. and we still want to have them to have a hot meal and be able to wind and relax. So we're making a special accommodation for them as well. This is a relevant question. The water detour, will it be marked? It was marked. It was marked this weekend.
It's actually marked right now.
Yeah. It will be marked. There'll also be signage. But the way that it is, you're coming off of a ridge and you end up in this sort of like a tent camping area, and you go down the road a little bit, and the turn to the water crossing is on the right-hand side of the road, and it will point down to the stream where you need to cross. The detour is marked as well. We did talk a little bit about pacers. Yeah, I mean, we understand that stuff happens. You may not know exactly where your pacer is going to start. You may be having a crappy day and need them earlier than you wanted to, or maybe don't need them at all. But all you need to do is just either put to be determined, or like you have right there, aid station 7 or 10. But if you do have an idea, just say, well, more likely at 7, for example. So there is that. I don't really know how to answer this question because the parking, it's not because of us. It's DCNR rules and regulations. Like last year, okay,
Well, in
yeah,
this
I
case,
can't
you
tell
can
you that
do
you.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I need to tell you that you should not park there. Um, and I know DCNR will be, monitoring the lot. So, if I really, really do not recommend, you know, uh, tent truck camping. I mean, they may let you go, they may not. I can't give you that answer. I will tell you that Little Pine State Park is surrounded by Ty-Dotton State Forest, and once you get into the state forest, the rules of vehicle camping are much more relaxed, and there's a lot of places where you can overnight camp. So, keep that in mind. Jade.
One thing I want to mention though is if you are in the lot of the free camping, I think maybe that is I'm reading the question. I think that's what he was doing. And that's fine. If you're in the free camping lot and you have your tent on the back of your truck, that's fine. But understand that the free camping lot is first come, first serve. So if that lot is full, you may not come over to the main lot and camp there. It's no. And here's the thing, and here's why we have to be so strict about it. This is kind of a gift that they give us. And Tracy Lambert, who is the park manager at Little Pine, is amazing and awesome, and she does so much to help us. So this is something that not everybody gets, and we really don't want to take advantage of it. So please respect the rules and guidelines. And I'm going to say this honestly, if you wanted to guarantee a camping spot, you probably should have booked in the state park. So you're taking a risk. Yes. Will there be room for me in that lot? You're taking that risk. There's plenty of room for tents over there on the ground, but there is no overflow. None. So take it as you will.
All right.
Always clean
First
one.
time, huh? Yes.
I'm
that's
always
why we
clean
have
one.
you along. First time pacer here. Well, there are, as of about 2 hours ago, there are driving directions available on the website at easternstates.com. It's under crew information. So you'll be able to find not only the driving directions, but GPS coordinates and also the race rules that are specific to pacers and crew. So that's that. They're going down the list here. Yes. However, there's a caveat to this. Can you have a shower after the run and then be able to drive back to wherever? There are showers available at Little Pine State Park in the campground, but right where the start and finish is, which is about 1.5 miles above that campground, there are no shower facilities. So if you need to take a shower before, that would be the place to go, just downstream from the start and finish. I'm going to put this up again. People are wondering where the tracker is. So that's the correct website, correct, Tom? Very cool, very cool. I'm trying to look if there is any other questions. I haven't either they've been answered or we're been already taken care of. Thank you for Cassie. She's kind of monitoring our Facebook page for questions, so hopefully she was able to answer some of the other ones. But this is kind of the last call for questions. So if you do have a question, just put it in the comments at on our Facebook stream. Is there a winner for the solo division and one for the crew division? No, we are just doing this to just to find, so someone can have the extra bragging rights that they went out and
the glass.
did it on their own. However, there is a glassware that we will be handing out to the solo division participants. And again, whenever you come into the finish, we will have a bib that designates you as a solo runner, but please, do the honor system and let us know that, you indeed, accepted aid or not. Jeff.
Yeah, just an extra comment, an extra comment on the new division this year. This is an experiment this year. And what Ben said about bragging rights and so on is part of it. But the other reason we're doing this is because we would really like to let more people into the race, allow more runners to run. But as you'll see when you run through some of our aid stations out there, it's really tight. And so the limiting factor for how many people we can let into the race is how many cars fit in some of those remote crew accessible aid stations. And so this is an experiment to see. We didn't during the initial registration, we didn't set specific limits on crewed versus uncrewed. We wanted to see how it shook out, the numbers of who would actually want to sign up to go solo versus having a crew. We're going to pay close attention this year to see what the numbers look like as far as traffic, physical vehicle traffic at those aid stations, and see if we're getting to the right numbers. And then in the future, things going well, we might cap the crewed division and open more spots for solo runners. But this is all an experiment right now. So we would appreciate your feedback after the race, your thoughts on the solo division. Should we have a separate prize for solo runners? That sort of thing. Again, an experiment, but maybe we have room